And they will get out of bed if they have a goal that's very big, that's exciting. Now, the two of you obviously have goals, or you wouldn't be doing what you're doing, interviewing hundreds of people all over the world. If a person doesn't have something to work towards, they begin to die. There's a very basic law of life: it's create or disintegrate. And if you don't have an objective that you're working towards, you're not going anywhere. And that's rather sad. We're the highest form of creation on the planet. We're the only creature on the planet that's totally disoriented in our environment. All the other little creatures on the planet are completely at home in their environment. They blend in. They operate by instinct. We don't operate by instinct. We have higher faculties. And with these higher faculties, we've been given the unique ability of creating our own environment. Unfortunately, the educational system doesn't teach this to a person. Our educational system teaches a person virtually nothing about who they are and what they have going for them. We've got such magnificent faculties. We have perception, the will, reason, imagination, memory, intuition. These higher faculties enable us to create the kind of life we want. But if a person doesn't have something they're working toward, they're not going anywhere.
Fantastic. Jay Palmer, after you, sir.
You of course, in your events and your YouTube videos and all your content, you talk all of the time about mindset, what you're thinking about, the spiritual side of success. Tell us, compared to hard work, how big of a percentage is focusing on the spiritual side of success? How important is that compared to just working hard alone?
I really believe that success in any undertaking, it doesn't matter what you're doing, whether it's in broadcasting, journalism, whether it's in medicine, sales, anything. I think success is 5% strategy and it's 95% mindset. And I proved this to myself, Jay, because when I was a young guy at 26, I didn't even know what strategy meant. I didn't know anything about strategizing. I just followed what was in here. I had a picture of myself building a company. Someone said there's good money cleaning floors. I said, I'm not proud, I'll clean floors. Well, I started to clean offices. In less than 5 years, I was cleaning offices in Toronto, Montreal, Boston, Cleveland, Atlanta, and London, England. I was earning over $1 million a year. I knew nothing about strategizing, but I had a picture of where I was going, what I was going to do. Mindset is everything. Everything.
Brilliant.
Wow.
I have a question. After you, Jay, question after you, sir. After you.
So tell us, of course, right now you're, I believe, 86 years of age. 86 years of age. And I believe you have more energy than most people I've ever met, right? Tell us how you keep your energy high at such an age.
Well, first of all, nobody gets energy. We often say to a person, where do you get all the energy? No one gets energy. All the energy there ever was or ever will be is 100% evenly present in all places at the same time. So we release energy. We don't get it, we release it. We are energy. Desire is the triggering mechanism to release energy. And desire is a want. It's want in our conscious mind. I want this, I want that. You've got to internalize that want. Plant it in the garden of your subconscious, as James Allen's referred to it, and that turns into a desire. And it's the desire is the effort of the unexpressed possibility within seeking expression without through our action. And so the energy is expressed. We release it. We don't get it. And if we're in love with an idea, we're going to have lots of energy. I always love what Alfred Adler, the great Viennese psychologist, he said, I'm grateful to the idea that has used me. Well, I can relate to that. I'm grateful to the idea that has used me.
Brilliant. Fantastic, Mr. Bob Proctor. I have a question to you is, the world is very different now, Mr. Proctor. You've been around for such a long time and you've seen the world change from the 80s, from the 90s. We didn't even have mobile phones. Even when I was growing up, when I was a young guy, we used to have Nokia 3310s. You remember them back in the day. And we didn't have WhatsApp, social media, Instagram. Do you think it's easier now for young people to become successful compared to how people you started? Like people like Denzel Washington, actor, he doesn't use social media. We've got, legendary actors all over the world, or legendary entrepreneurs, for instance, like you. You didn't have tweeting. Do you think it's easier now for young people to become this social media product?
No, I don't think it's any easier. I think it's just as difficult as it was when I was a boy. The world is changing, but people are essentially the same. And I don't care where you're from. You can be from Asia, from South America, from North America. People are essentially the same. We're spiritual beings living in physical bodies, and we've been gifted with a marvelous mind. So I think the rules have always applied, the same rules. The whole universe operates by law. The laws never change, and it's create or disintegrate. So although the world is changing, our ability to communicate different ways is changing dramatically. I mean, you take these little phones, it's a computer you stick in your pocket. It's got more power than the first computer that took a rocket to the moon. But that doesn't make it easier, it makes it different. I think it's just the same. I think it's very difficult to really make it happen, and that's because we're not taught much about ourselves. And the people that are making it happen, they're either unconscious competence, and there's a lot of them around. I think most people that are highly successful cannot articulate on why they are. They're what you call an unconscious competent. And I was very successful, but I didn't know why. And I tried to figure it out, and I couldn't. I was earning over $1 million, and I was very irresponsible. And I thought, you know, what happened to me? Why did I change? I'd been raised to believe if you're going to earn a lot of money, you've got to be really smart. Well, I knew that wasn't true. I was earning a lot of money, and I knew I wasn't very smart. I was raised to believe if you don't go to school, you can't win. I didn't go to school. I didn't have a good job. I owned the whole company. So I started to think most of what we have been taught isn't even true. So I started to study. It took me 9.5 years, and I figured out exactly why my life changed so dramatically. And when I figured it out, all I wanted to do was teach it. And that's all I've done ever since then.
Fantastic. Mr. J. Palmer, question after you, sir.
Tell us about your goals, because like you said, you know, at such an age, the reason why you have so much energy is because you have big goals, you have a big purpose. What is those goals right now for you, and what's your big purpose in life?
Well, my goal is to have a company that operates all over the world. We're in 89 countries. I think there's 180 some countries, if I'm right. So we've got maybe halfway. We're still going. I want to do $100 million a year in business. We're not doing 100 million yet. So these are the things. Now the 100 million is just a mark. Money is a great way to measure your production because you can measure it to the penny. Outside of that, it's very difficult to measure. And so we always want to grow and keep the company moving in a higher direction. Reach more people, help more people. I think we give a lot of money away. We build schools in Africa. I think money is used, if it's used properly, to extend the good you can do far beyond your own presence. I wrote in a book that we should love people and use money. Unfortunately, too many people love money and use people. They've got to get that turned around because they'll never be happy as long as it's like that.
Me as a journalist, I meet so many incredibly people like you every single day. So I'm so blessed to be able to talk to you guys and, you know, share my experience across the world. Young people always ask me, you know, when I ask this question, when I meet very influential entrepreneurs like you who've worked so hard, what does, you know, like you just said, like Jay asked you the question, money, and you spoke upon money. What does money, because all of my friends, oh, I need 10 grand, Mr. Proctor. Oh, I need 20 grand. I need to get that next. I want to get to that next level. Mm-hmm. I always say to Jay, even to Jay today, I'm happy with £4,000 account in my account. I'm happy with £3 grand. I'm happy with £2,000 because I know I have a little house, a little car. I go to the gym. I go and have dinner with my friends in the evening. I don't wear, you know, I'm not the richest man in the world, but you know what? I have something that's content and I'm comfortable in what I have. Even though maybe sometimes I can't afford to go out for dinner and go to a restaurant because I think, even though it's 20 quid, I don't really want to go there. I can go down to a cheaper cafe. So I've learned to live with my life except not always having to, oh, I missed I've got gold chains on and I've got sunglasses on and I'm ready to show everybody who I am. What do you think the mentality of the young people now you know, because they see influencers like you and they think, wow, I want to do it, I want to get like that, but they sometimes lose themselves. Do you agree? Sometimes they lose their way, you know?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. See, I don't think it matters what you have. I think what matters is where you're going. And I met a doctor in a seminar in Atlanta here not too long ago, and he told me he was thinking of leaving the medical profession. And I said, why would you leave? Well, he said, you got to put in more time to earn less money today. The medical profession's all messed up. And I said, why did you become a doctor? Well, he said, I love it. I said, if you earned any money, that's a plus. I said, as long as you're doing what you love, that's the secret of life. Find out what you love to do and dedicate your life to it. What you have is irrelevant if you're doing what you love. And I said, where you've made a mistake, you think you go to work for money. You don't go to work for money. You go to work for satisfaction. You provide service to earn money. You can earn money while you're sleeping. But if your objective is just money and you're not doing what you love doing, you're missing the whole point of life.
Absolutely.
It's like you're saying, you know, you can go to a less expensive restaurant. Well, so can I. You're doing what you love and I'm doing what I love. You're not doing what you do because it's an accident. The way you're interviewing people all over the world, you're working on objectives all the time. I don't even have to ask you that. I know that by a couple of things you've said. So your purpose is driving you. My purpose drives me. Without a purpose, see, I believe that the ultimate aim of all thinking beings is the same. I think the purpose of life is to become aware of our oneness with God. And we're always working towards that.
Absolutely.
And that's really the secret to living. But without a purpose, a person's lost.
Fantastic, Mr. Proctor. Last question for you, Jay, and we'll let Mr. Proctor continue his lovely morning.
Yeah. Amazing. What would you say to someone? I find a lot of young people around my age. I'm 20 years of age right now. And, you know, I find when we're starting our journey, especially with an entrepreneurship, it's, you know, it's about money, how to get ourselves to a certain level. But then I think it shifts at a point. But how would you say for someone, how they go about finding their purpose, their reason why they're doing it? How do you find that?
I think if a person would sit down every day, take a pad and a pen, and ask themselves, what do I really love doing? Forget about money. What do I love doing? You can have all the money in the world. If you're not doing what you love, you're going to be an unhappy human being. Your life is going to be rather shallow. What do I really love doing? Now, when they figure that out, that's what they should dedicate their life to. Money is an instrument. I want a lot of money because I want to do a lot. Money enables me to extend the good I do far beyond my presence. I, by many people's standard, would live a fairly shallow or dull life. I don't go into many places and I don't do too much. I work most of the time because I love what I do. I use the money to extend the good we do beyond our presence. And that's what I think money's for. So I think when a young person, they should figure out what do they love to do and then dedicate their life to it. That's the secret of life.
My couple of last questions for you, sir, and I'll let you continue your lovely morning. You're a known person where you can change somebody's life just like that. And it doesn't matter, even if it doesn't have to be financially, it can be just mentality. You can look at somebody and go, he's a person I want to be around, or he's a person I don't think is going to be worth it. When you meet young people, forget about being young. You know, forget the young. Let's forget the young. Let's forget people all over the world, you know, all ages. When you meet somebody and go, yep, I'm going to help you. What kind of people do you look for, Mr. Proctor? And you go, you know, he's smart, or is it because he's a nice person, or he's easy to work with? Because listen, I can sit on we can sit on Instagram, we can sit on Zoom right now, and I can pretend I'm the most happiest man in the world and fool everybody, right? Yeah, because that's the world called manipulation. It's called, you know, psychology. But at the same time, I could be a really horrible person to my mum. I could be horrible to my dad, but I could be lovely to the outside world. How do you know who you can help? And how do you know that person is worth it?
Well, you know, you can talk to a person for a few minutes and they show what's going on inside. We hide nothing. Everything we do and say expresses what's going on inside. I can look at a person you just mentioned, I could read them. You operate from both the right and left hemisphere of your brain, although you're dominantly a left brain person. You do have a little bit of the right brain. That's the emotional side of you. It's maybe 25%, but 75% you're a left brain person. So I could read you very quick. I could read your energy off the screen. Now, I've learned how to do that, and if I learned how to do it, you can do it. Anything you see one person do and another person can do if they want to spend the time to learn it. So I read a person very quickly. I'll read their energy. We have an intuitive factor. We pick it up, we feel it. But what you say and what you're doing tells what's going on in the inside. I'm looking for people that want more out of life. And they're the people I want to work with. And the majority of people fall into that category. Now, there's a lot of people that don't understand it, but if they're looking for it, I want to help them. That's the criteria.
Brilliant. I'm going to ask you 2 breaking news questions, and then we're going to wrap it up because I know you probably need to get on with your day. Now, the reason I'm going to ask you these questions is because, number one, I always believe when I ask someone who's very famous like yourself or influential, other people will tune in. When you know, it's called a plug-in. When you talk about something, if Donald Trump talks about something, the whole world thinks about it, right? The whole world will think about it. You know, if Hillary Clinton says something, some will think about it. So I'm going to ask you a question. 2 questions. George Floyd. You must have heard about that situation in America that really upset a lot of people. How did you feel when you heard about that? Because when I saw that, it was disgusting, man. I felt
sick.
It was sick, man.
I felt sick.
It was sick.
I felt sick.
You
see, I think the George Floyd situation is communicating to the world that we believe people are different, and they're not different. George Floyd, Bob Proctor is exactly the same. We look different, we sound different, we come from different backgrounds, but we're all the same. We're spiritual beings, and we're living in a physical body, and we've been gifted with an intellect. And when we start to understand that people are the same, we're going to get along a lot better.
Brilliant. And my other question to you, my last question to you. Obviously, you know, look, England and America, we are together. You know, we're a country where we work together. You know, trading, relationships, prime minister, etc. You don't have to answer this if you don't want to. And please note, you know, you don't have to. And you can say, I don't want to answer. That's fine. What's your opinion about Mr. Donald Trump? Now, I'll give you my opinion just to kind of make it ease. I think he is mad, but I think also people don't realize, even though I don't really believe in what he does when he says things like, put disinfecting inside of you and coronavirus will pass away. There's lots of things, but I have to give him credit. He's a man who does things, even though he does the bad things at times. He does it. He's an action man. I don't think the world is so used to that someone, you know, Barack Obama, he was just talk. He wasn't talk, but he had a lot of niceness and he was talk. But he's a shrewd businessman, and you've got to give him credit for that. People say, oh, I like him, you don't like him. What's your opinion about everything, about the whole situation with him?
I think what he does primarily for his own benefit.
Of course he does, 100%.
I think that he's a person of action, there's no question about it.